Good morning, everyone, and we wish you a very warm welcome to the Monetera, Money Museum of Croatian National Bank. We welcome you here in inspiring space dedicated to learning and exploration, a perfect setting for the ideas and creativity we hope to see today, and it will be presented by young students from Denmark and Croatia. It is especially meaningful to gather here in Croatia at the time when Denmark holds the presidency of the Council of the European Union. Theme of this panel, rainy days and sunny days in finance, invite us to think about money in a different way. What we buy, how we save, how we treat the planet, and what kind of the world we want to live in years from now. Before I proceed, we would like to inform you that during this event, the photos and videos will be taken for use on social media channels. So if anyone prefers not to be included in this, please feel free to let us know. To officially open this event and set the stage for everything that follows, I invite, and in my honor is invite to Vice Governor of Croatian National Bank, Mr. Bojan Fras, to deliver opening remarks. Please join me.
Okay, dobar dan svima. Gude. What's the right way to say it? Gude? Okay. Welcome everyone. Welcome to Monetera. Welcome to the Croatian National Bank. By no means is this event any wonder in that we have secondary school students here. In fact, secondary school students are regular guests to the Croatian National Bank, and in particular also to Monetera. And the only thing that is not so usual this time is that we have, I understand, 16 secondary school students from Denmark. I wish them a very, very warm welcome, and please one applause for our guests. We are very pleased to be able to co-organize this event with the Royal Danish Embassy in Croatia during their presidency of the European Union, and by very coincidence I should tell you that our governor of the Croatian National Bank, who should have been here instead of me really, is currently visiting the National Bank of Denmark in Copenhagen. Yesterday he had meetings and lecture there, so it's really not only symbolic but really a practical situation of the cooperation of the two central banks and of two countries. This event is part of our continuous efforts to improve regarding the improvement of the level of financial literacy and financial education. And I often like to say in similar situations that financial education and financial literacy is the tool of survival in the modern world, and that alongside with the digital literacy, of which I think you seem to be more familiar than necessarily with financial literacy. I should also use this opportunity to stress that during the last year we had more than 14,000 visitors, mostly school children and students, in various programs of financial education exactly in the Croatian National Bank. And as for Monetera, we are very proud that we've had more than 17,000 visitors since its opening in June last year. Today, event gives us a unique opportunity, and that is to compare views and attitudes on the same topics, which are globally relevant, not only for your generation, but I would say for all the generations, and to hear the views from representatives, that is secondary school students, from two different regions, not only two different countries of Europe, but two different regions, Scandinavia and Southeast and Mediterranean Europe. And the panel will, as you will see, deal with two very important things. That is, one regards the financial literacy and management of our personal finances, and the second one deals with greening and sustainability. All in all, I'm certain that we all are going to learn something today, and I wish you a very interesting and dynamic discussions, and above all, I wish you to have fun.
Thank you, Vice Governor, for your inspiring words. And now it is my honor to introduce the next speaker, who will also deliver us opening remarks. Our next speaker plays a key role in the strengthening our friendship between our two countries. The chargée d'affaires from the Royal Danish Embassy, Miss Anne Zachariasen. Your support and engagement gave special significance to this event in Monetera venue, and we are delighted to have you with us today. Please join me.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I'm very happy to see so many young people here today. I would also like to send many greetings from Ambassador Ole Friis Madsen, who unfortunately couldn't be here today. But on behalf of the ambassador and myself, I would firstly like to thank for the excellent cooperation we had with the National Bank on organizing this event. I would like to thank Monetera for hosting us today. I myself couldn't think of a better place to talk about money than in a money museum. Then I would like to thank the Danish National Bank, who also supported us to support this, as well as Ranum Efterskole College for jumping on this project when we suggested it. That's very much appreciated. But a great thanks to all you Croatian and Danish in the panels and everyone in the audience. We, the Danish Embassy, would like to have this event because we wanted to hear your perspectives on the green transition and finances. You're the future of Europe, and it's important that we hear your voice. Denmark, as mentioned, currently holds the presidency of the EU Council, and one of our main topics of priority is the green transition. We want a green Europe. And we believe that the green transition and competitiveness go hand in hand. We think the green transition is good for business, and it's the future. We don't think that fossil fuels are the future. And without revealing too much about today's event, I will also just add that you're going to hear a few songs today. And I'm not going to say more than that, Boris, but I have to explain one of them already now. And I do it because I think it's the first time that the Danish pupils are hearing it. And I know that you will, or you might be asked what it is about. So I will just help you a bit and explain it to you. So basically, the song that you're going to hear is called Costa Kalundborg, and it's written in 1982 by a Danish band called Shubidua. And the song is actually about climate change, because that was also discussed in Denmark in the 80s. Actually, in the song, they predict that Denmark will become a new holiday paradise because of global change. I do think we can be honest about this. This hasn't happened. We will say it's still Croatia. But we included the song today to say that talking about climate change is not a new thing, far from. And it makes it even more urgent to do something, because this is not going away. And to change the current course, we need to speed up the green transition. And we need to do it across generations. We need to do it together. So I look very much forward to hearing your thoughts and points of view today. And I hope that you will also enjoy this afternoon we have together. Thank you.
Thank you for your inspiring words. And we are now moving on to our 3 team discussion rounds. And to guide us through, please welcome our moderator. I'm pleased to introduce Dr. Boris Jokic, one of the Croatia's leading experts in education, head of Institute for Social Research, and his insights will help us connect today's themes with real experiences and challenges. Let's dive in.
Well, hello everyone. It's my great privilege to be here. My name is, you heard, is Boris Jokic. As you heard, I'm a scientist. I'm a director of the Institute for Social Research in Zagreb, but probably you don't know that I'm an amateur DJ. I have a radio show where I play music, and it's great honor for me here to be with you and to hear you speak about various topics. We're going to speak with 18 young people from Denmark and Croatia. They will join me here on stage, and we're going to speak about really, really important issues. We're going to speak about finances, we're going to speak about sustainability, we're going to speak about mix between the finances and sustainability. You're going to have an interactive role, active role in this discussion. You have green and red things. Please show them. Let's see them. Okay, I see more green than red, but we'll change that till the end of the day. That's going to be great. And at one point you're going to be active in putting the green and red things in the air. First discussion is about money and sustainability, future friends or forever foes. For those who don't know, foes is the enemies. So we're going to speak if the money and sustainability are friends, or they can be enemies, or they can be friends. I'll invite here to the floor first three speakers from Denmark. So please, and excuse me for pronunciation. I'll try to do my best. So please welcome Augusta Marie Bergman Iversen. Wait. Then please also warm welcome for Laura Reiner. And I'm going to make it wrong. Sorry. And please big welcome for Malthi Nergard Diebern. Okay, so these are. I mean, you're going to hear that there are smart people from Denmark, but also the Croats are not dumb also. So we also have three people from Croatia. So please welcome to the stage, Korana Cindor. Korana, I'm sorry. I'm already all in Danish. Korana, I'm sorry, I'm really sorry. Then I'm going to also make it now, funny pronunciation. Franco, I'm kidding, Franco Filder, please welcome to the stage. And also the same warm applause for Maya Kaleb. Also, so just you know how it's done. It's going to be quick. We're going to have 6 questions in each setting. We're going to see a lot of people here on stage. Please be free to speak openly. This is not school, so you can speak. This is for the Croatian kids. This is not school, so speak openly. And I guess you speak openly in the Danish schools, so speak like you are. So the first question I have for you, and I'll start with Malthi. You want to start? Huh? Yeah. Okay. Who's going to start? Malthi. Okay. Can you tell me, like, how do young people in Denmark usually learn about money and sustainability? How do you learn about that?
In my household, we normally talked about salaries and taxes and inflation. So I got used to it already at home, and money was like kind of a normal topic to talk about.
Mm-hmm. Franco, how about you? Like, do you speak about inflation at home, or do you speak about inflation and money in schools?
Well, in my household, we speak about inflation and money a lot. Less so in schools. I think this is a big fault of the education system. We don't speak about money enough, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm. Tell me, you come from gymnasium in Zagreb?
Yeah.
Okay, and when did you learn about money? When was the thing that you learned anything about finances?
I learned mostly online through things that I researched, which interest me, and also from my parents. My dad's an economist, so I learned a lot from him.
Okay, Malthi, how about you? Like in schools, do you learn about finances in Denmark?
Yeah, we learn a bit about it, but yeah, we learn a bit about it in school.
Mm-hmm. and Laura, tell me, do you think for Danish young people, the issues of money and finances and sustainability, are they important for young people in Denmark?
Yeah, definitely. They're becoming even more important as people get older. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Anything else to say?
Not really.
Not really. But do you think that sustainability is more important than finances for young people to be learned about?
I think it's a balance. I think they're both really important, especially with climate change and global warming right now.
Mm-hmm. Korana, what do you think about Croatian young people? Do you think that it's important for them to learn about these things?
I think it's really important that they learn about those things. I feel like they're not learning about them early enough. I think most people find out about finances very late in life, and that is the main problem in Croatia.
Mm-hmm. When you say we don't learn enough, do you think that the schools are kind of should be in charge of that, or?
I think it's definitely the educational system's fault, but also sometimes you can't leave everything to parents because parents may not be financially literate as well.
Augusta, tell me, like, how old are you? Sorry for asking.
I'm 16.
You're 16, okay.
Yes.
Do you think that there is, like, in Denmark, do you think there is, like, generational differences in the views about an importance and interest in the issues of sustainability?
Definitely. I feel like younger people know more about it than older people do, or are definitely taught it at a very early age. I mean, I learned a lot through social media, and we've also been taught it at school from a very early age in Denmark. So it's always been on our minds that one day we're going to have to be aware of this and really do something, because we are the future of this generation.
What do you think, Franco? Like, here in Croatia, do you feel there is, like, generational gap in the interest and the awareness and importance of the sustainability?
Yes, I think it's a big generational gap, especially between like younger and older people. Older people aren't really informed about sustainability enough, in my opinion, because they believe this is something that like only affects younger people, and younger people should do something about it. So I think younger people definitely know more about sustainability than older people.
Maya, what do you think about that? Do you have that? Do you have sometimes, like, when you know, like here in Croatia, sometimes on Sundays we have family lunches. I'm sure that you have that in Denmark too. But do you sometimes kind of like argue about the sustainability? Do you see the differences within the families about these issues?
I feel like older people are always quite pessimistic and quite critical of any type of establishment that tells them that they should care about sustainability. So that's definitely a big difference that I notice between younger people and older people, like how they approach this issue, what they think that should be done about this, and do they think anything can be done at all. Older people maybe don't even feel the need, or they don't even believe that this is an issue that is worth solving, because they think that it's just a lie, that it's too dramatic or something like that.
When you say lie, you think that some people don't believe that the kind of climate crisis is real, and that there is, you know, like issues that we as people can do about it?
I feel like people in Croatia can sometimes, especially older people who are not on the internet as much, who consume media primarily through like national TV houses, are sometimes not aware to the full extent of what things are happening in the world right now. And then they feel like if they don't see the big issues that are not being shown on HRT, they feel like big issues don't exist at all. And when people come and tell them there's a big issue that should be solved, they feel like they're dramatic, or that they're actively trying to worsen their quality of life in some way, and then they don't believe them as much.
Laura, is the situation same in Denmark? Do you think that sometimes you're not heard about the importance of the issue of sustainability?
No, I think in Denmark there's a lot of like, it's okay to be vocal and you're allowed to have your own opinion and speak what you want.
And tell me, like, okay, so you're now in high school, probably you'll go to university, or maybe you'll go to the work, to the labor force. Do you think like the way that your future employer deals with sustainability and kind of has the policy with regards to sustainability, would that affect your professional choice?
It would definitely be a factor in it. I think there's a lot of different factors, for example, the salary and like the working conditions. However, it would definitely have an impact, because I would like it to match with my morals and values.
Maya, how about you? Do you think like when you enter the workforce and there's like various employers that you would like to work at, would kind of the policies towards sustainability, would that be kind of the factor that you would take into account?
I mean, absolutely. Like, firstly, on the moral level of all of this, I don't want to participate in something that is actively worsening the lives of other people, but this is also something that will definitely impact my life in one way or another, and I wouldn't want to find myself in a situation where I'm working for someone who is making my life worse, or who doesn't care about these really big problems in our world.
I think these are really important views that young people are now offering to us as a kind of crowd, because as you can see, their views are quite mature about like what's important and how the future can be shaped by the values of young people today. But now, Augusta, one kind of hard question for you, if that's okay. Okay, you know, there's opposing views if the sustainability and you know, like money can coexist, and if they can successfully coexist, if they can be friends rather than foes, if they can be, you know, like together rather than in a kind of enemies. So, what are your views on that? Can that be kind of like, you know, like put together in a kind of pacified way?
I think so, definitely. In Denmark, we have lots of windmills and solar panels, and this creates more work opportunities for people, and yeah, it creates more work opportunities, and also they tend to invest a lot in green energy. Yeah.
How about here, Corona? Do you see any kind of possibility of these things coexisting together, or are they kind of opposed here in Croatia?
I think it's possible, but as far as Croatia, I think most people will always prioritize their own well-being and their own profit than sustainability, because what Maya said, they don't see it as such a big issue, so that they don't prioritize it.
How about in Denmark? Do you think that people would prioritize their own profits rather than think about nature and sustainability?
I think so, because they think short term. So short term, what might be cheaper might not be more sustainable. But if you tend to think long term, sustainable solutions are often better. They're always better.
They're always better.
Yeah.
And tell me, you said that people are kind of short-visioned. They just see the immediate goal and all of that. What can we do? Can we do anything about that?
I think it will naturally just evolve because generations of young people.
You mean like older people will just die off? Is that the thing? Like we will just be gone, or?
I mean, most people who usually don't believe in sustainability are older people who will eventually not have as much power in the political system. And I think the more we educate younger people and the more young people care about these issues, it will just naturally over time resolve.
Franco, thinking about Croatia, because they also came here from Denmark to learn about Croatia. Thinking about Croatia, what would be like the biggest obstacles for these things to coexist, to be in a kind of friendly relationship and maybe even a productive relationship for finances? Because sustainable options, like just like you, Augusta, said, can be of the benefit for the financial sector and the economic sector.
I think that is definitely a problem of like less education for people. People aren't educated enough on these issues, especially on sustainability, so they don't even know that it's like better in the long term and that it can help both financially and environmentally.
Malte, what do you think the obstacles in Denmark for being even more kind of friendly towards both the finances and the sustainability?
I think mostly people can like find it hard to see like the finance part in it, because it can be hard for the economics and things to like get through to the transition from fossils, and everything can go to a more neutral part.
This has been the end of our first part of discussion. You have heard now various interesting insights in both the Danish and the Croatian side of the dilemma between the money and sustainability. So for the end of it, please big applause for all these 6 great people. It's not easy to speak in front of all of you, so big thanks and thank you very much. You can go back to your seats. Okay, so this brings us to the second part of our discussion, and the second part of the discussion is called "Green Wallet in My Pocket." So that's it. So if you have a wallet, is it a green wallet? What kind of wallet is it? And is it in my pocket? So for a start, we'll sorry for the green and the right. Oh, okay, sorry. Can we just see those questions first? Okay, so now it's time for you, before we start to the second section. First question that we have for you, and I would like someone from HNB, Croatian National Bank, or from the Royal Danish Embassy to count the greens and the reds. The first question for the crowd is, money or profit is the biggest obstacle for bigger sustainability? So let's see in the air, red or green. Okay, a lot of green here, like a lot of green people. That's great. And the second question that we have? Nakon drugog panela, after the second panel, we'll have the second question. Okay, so, okay, here it is. Okay, sustainability is primarily dependent on the level of technology that we have. So once again, sustainability is primarily dependent on the level of technology that we have. Yes or no? So that's a mixed answer here. Some are green and some are red. Okay, that's a topic to discuss. Okay, that's great. So we're going to have 4 more questions, in total 6, and then we'll see at the end what you as a kind of audience think about these. This brings me to the second part of our discussion, and as I said, that's the green wallet in my pocket. So that's the introduction to the 6 people that are going to join me. So I'm going to start now with the Croatian crew. So please, warm applause and warm welcome to Paula Klančić. Also, the same warm applause for the Lorena Marčec. They're going to be joined by one gentleman. His name is Sven Divjak. And from the Danish side, we have Holger Emil Lineberg. And then also, Nemo, I'm sorry, I'm going to miss it. Okay, we have Nemo Amnitsbel Gerken. And they're going to be joined by one lady. Her name is Philippa Jul Albrechtsen. Okay, so we're going to start with you. Lorena, is that okay? Are you ready? Okay, it's a personal question. Okay, tell me, what are the main elements of a personal budget for a typical Croatian student?
Well, first of all, probably food at school, since in high school we don't have organized meals, so we have to get our own food, so bakeries and grocery stores around the school. Then if we want to go out with friends, that's also a lot of a budget. We drink a lot of coffee and we sit down for a lot of coffees. We were on a coffee before this, so we spend a lot on coffee. And then personally, I spend also on clothes and makeup, but Sven probably doesn't spend too much on that. So.
Well, don't stereotype. Maybe Sven does also makeup. So please, give him that option. So just for them, so they know, although they've been here for a couple of days, how much is a coffee outside?
Well, it depends. It's anywhere from 150 to 260. Depends on where you sit.
Holger, what are the elements of your budget, or of a budget of a young Danish?
Yeah, I spend a lot of money on clothing, but recently when I started after school, I used more of my money on the local convenience store on food and snacks. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And coffee? Do you drink coffee?
Not really.
Not really. And do young people go for a coffee?
Some people do, but it kind of depends on the person.
Okay. Here in Croatia, like the whole class goes for coffee. Like that's what you do.
Well, if they like each other, yes, but no, 4 people at least, cafes after school are full. We finish at 1:15. If you try to get a table at a cafe at 1:30, you can't.
Okay, and tell them, do you sometimes go out?
Yes.
Okay, and what about that? What do you use money for? What do you spend money on?
Well,
it's being televised, so you can speak
out,
openly. Just say.
And it's usually coffee, and we end up at a kebab place or McDonald's, so it's usually that. We don't go to clubs just yet because we're underage, so that will probably be in a year. A lot of money, because it's apparently expensive.
There's a lot of noise there in the back of the room. When you say we don't go out yet and all of that, I see them laughing there. How about you, Holger? Do Danish young people go out? Can they go out?
Yeah,
they can go out. Can they go out to clubs and bars and all of that?
You can't go into clubs and bars until you're 18, but you can buy alcohol under, I think it's 6%. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Okay. We're not going to speak about alcohol and spending on alcohol, but that's interesting to see the differences between the two countries. Nemo, tell me, for you personally, would you pay more yourself for a product that you know that it was made sustainable in a sustainable manner?
It depends on the item or cloth. If it's clothes, I would definitely pay twice as much. But if it's gadgets or something, I just pay online. I probably would pay the same thing.
And you say for clothes you would definitely pay more. Why is that?
Because most clothes, it's probably made by child labor, which I mean, I don't really support, and also just, I mean, it's not really made sustainable.
Paula, how about you? Would you pay for a product a higher price if it was made sustainable, or you would really not look at that?
Well, I think it would really depend if I knew the product was of higher quality. If I was sure that it was that the clothes I'm paying maybe 20 euros and not like 5 euros will last me a longer time just because it was made sustainably, then yes. But if it just has a label like eco-friendly, then no.
And what about, like, as Nimo has said, for the clothes, would that be an option, or you would really not think about that?
Well, I mean, personally, I buy only a few pieces of clothes and they are mostly sustainable, so I wouldn't really have to think about it. I already buy sustainable.
And how about you, Sven? What do you make kind of like rational choices about, or not rational choices, do you make sustainable choices when buying things?
Okay, I mean, I try to, because I have like a moral duty to be sustainable, I feel like, but I'm also not very, I don't think I'm very consistent with my morals, so I should spend more on sustainable clothing, but when push comes to shove and I don't have the extra cash, I'm gonna buy something unsustainable.
And tell me, like, do you think that our personal choices, I mean, like, you are young people, but like our choices as a kind of grown-ups, do you think that these personal choices in buying stuff, do you think that affects kind of the climate and all other environmental issues?
I mean, it definitely does to an extent. I know, for example, that choosing to be vegan is very good for the environment in terms of like saving water and impact on the ozone layer. But also, I think that it's only really when we're trying to influence the market by collective action that we can maybe achieve something, because it's not really what I buy on an everyday basis, but it's what we as a society consume, it's how much we use in industry, and only if we can maybe collectively decide not to buy something, and not really on a person-to-person basis, we can maybe force companies to shift those behaviors and to be more sustainable.
Tell me, Filipa, what about you? Like, do you sometimes do these kind of choices? Do you think that our choices can affect the environment and the climate?
Yeah, I take more sustainable choices when I can, making sure that the stuff I buy is the right quality and is made with more sustainable.
And you yourself, when you buy stuff, for example, like clothes, or as Lorena says, makeup, or even coffee, because coffee can also be kind of made in a sustainable way and not sustainable way. Do you look at these kind of things?
Yeah, I do, especially clothes. I look at the price and how it's made, and it's from a brand that I know takes more sustainable options. I don't do it as much when I buy food and snacks. I don't really look at that. I mostly look at what it is and the price. And I don't really drink coffee, so I don't really do that. And makeup, I try finding stuff that's cruelty-free and it's not doing animal testing.
Nimo, tell me, thinking about like Denmark, can you also tell us like which town do you come from, so they also know?
So I come from a city called Randers in Denmark. It's pretty big, I mean, fourth biggest city in Denmark.
Okay, and what do you think, like the people in your city or in Denmark, would they make kind of like more sustainable choices in order to kind of, you know, like affect the climate, or what could make them do these kind of more sustainable choices?
I think that we do make some sustainable things. For example, there's going to be built a bridge to help save the climate, they say. I'm not sure how, but I mean, I think that's one big thing they're doing in the city. So yeah, that's it.
Lorena, how about here? Do you think that people would be for that? And what can we do as a society in order to increase our kind of like patterns of like sustainable behavior and behavior which are kind of more in line with a kind of sustainable future for the planet and us?
I think that it really depends on the generation, because we hear like younger people, we would probably be all for it and for solar panels and green energy and like eco-friendly snacks and clothes and everything. Well, I feel like older generations are more, they're kind of like stuck in the past, and I think that they have the mentality, well, if we lived like this for the last 50 years, we can live on for the 20, 30 more. It won't cost us anything. In fact, it will cost me more to change all of my habits and literally flip over my life just for some stupid sustainability. And I feel like there's that really big gap in mentality between the generations. So we could try and do something, since we do have a lot of young people, but I'm not quite sure that we could get everybody on board with it.
Even among young people, do you think that there are those who would not be for these kind of choices?
I mean, sure there would, because everybody comes from a different background, and in the end it all comes down to what moral values you were taught and what you were taught that is important. So my parents taught me that it's important to take care of the environment, and that it's important that we are eco-friendly and that we are thinking about the future and leaving the world a better place than we found it. And I know some people that weren't raised like that, and then there's like this little differences where I will wait for a trash can, they will just throw something on the floor because there's no trash can for the next 5 minutes.
And just for the clarification, because there are some of us who are older here, who are the older people? How old are the older people?
I was primarily thinking about like grandparents and older relatives, like 70 plus. Like
70 plus. Okay,
yeah.
so we are fine. We are fine. Well, we are still fine. We are still fine.
That's why I said like 20, 30 years, so that they like live to like 90, 100, and then they can.
Okay. So far we have been speaking about like the ways that us as individuals and the society as such can influence the choices. Some of the choices that are important for the younger generations, both in Denmark and Croatia, are issues such as fast fashion. I don't know if you are familiar with that idea of fast fashion. Someone has said that there is a child labor here involved in all of that, that the fashion companies have these like very short cycles between the seasons of clothes, and that kind of forces us to change all over and over. The other area that is really important about the sustainability and our choices is, for example, low-cost airlines, and the ways that we use the energy in planes and how we fly from place to place. And Holger, I would like to ask you, like, for example, you said you spend a lot on clothes, is that right? And do you spend a lot on planes?
Yeah, in Denmark we spend a lot of money on planes because my family likes to travel a lot. We don't like find it interesting in Denmark anymore. We've been there for all our lives, and it's just nice to travel. And we usually spend a lot of money on like low-cost airlines, which is not very sustainable.
And thinking about like your school and your family and maybe even the city where you grew up, what would be like the areas that we least think about when you think about like the green economy and the kind of green transition?
Yeah, it's probably, like I said, the low-cost airlines, because we travel a lot.
And then do you think like that there should be done something done about that, or?
Yeah, I think we should definitely do something, but we can't just like make people not travel. We should, I think we have a tax on airplanes in Denmark, so people don't use it as much.
Paula, what's your take on that? About like, for example, low-cost airlines and flying over from place to place. Probably you enjoy traveling, I guess, from the looks of you. Like you, it seems like you're well-traveled around. Like, do you think that people in Croatia would be up for example, taxation of these kind of things?
Well, of course, I would say it depends, but I think low-cost airlines could be more implemented in Croatia, that people maybe would be up for it. But there is one idea we started discussing in school in my class, that sometimes when you have to take a flight that takes 2 or 3 hours, maybe it would be really much better to go by car. And yes, of course, maybe it is more expensive and it takes a lot of time, but still, let's say the journey you can have on the road is really something you cannot have on the plane. And I know it's not for everybody, but this is something that I think younger individuals can do to make their trip more fun, but also to save costs, because when you go by plane, that is something that really is bad for the global warming.
Nimo, do you sometimes travel by train?
Yes, actually, because I'm not allowed to drive cars yet, so yeah, I usually take the train to everywhere I go.
And do people often take trains in Denmark?
Yes, we also have something called letbanen, which is like, and we also have a metro where it's like in the city, just small trains.
Sven, have you ever traveled from Zagreb to Split on train?
No, I haven't actually. We usually go by car when we're going to the coast.
And can you explain to our Danish colleagues how long is the travel from Zagreb to Split with a Croatian train?
I don't know exactly, but it's like absurdly long. It's maybe like 3 times longer than it takes you by car.
And that's probably how many hours? That's probably 8 to 9 hours. So just to tell you, like sometimes sustainable choices that we made are also done and caused by the infrastructure that we have. And for example, if young people and older people and those of us who are quite old, if we had like an efficient railway system, maybe we'd use that more than just our cars or low-cost airlines. And to end up this, Filipa, thinking about like what we can do, not just as a young people, not as kind of like responsible people such as Croatian National Bank and the Royal Danish Embassy, but as a society and a civilization, what can we actually do in order to better the situation, to make it better in ways that we do something with the biggest impact, in your view?
I think what we can do is try to invest more in sustainability as a person, try buying more sustainable stuff. In Denmark, we are really good at changing to green energy. Almost everyone in Denmark has electric cars and has solar panels. So that's stuff all we've done, but try lowering our consumption, because in Denmark, we buy and consume a lot of stuff. So if you can lower that, both clothes, but also food, we eat a lot of meat. So if you can eat more vegetarian, that I think could help a lot in Denmark.
Do you know, I have the data, do you know that, do you know who eats more meat, Danish people or Croatian people? What would your guess be, Sven?
Well, my guess would be Croatian people, just because, I don't know, it's my perception of the Danish culture that they're very like clean and they don't really eat meat. And the Croatian
what do you mean
culture,
they're clean?
I don't know.
The
I
Croats are clean
them
too, just for you. Croats are clean too, like we are clean people, okay?
I don't know, I perceive them as like richer than us, and I feel like richer people eat less meat.
Richer people eat less meat, okay. Actually, you're wrong. You're wrong. Some of the Scandinavian cultures are strongly rooted in meat. We are also too, but also we have this balanced diet. So when you see the correlation between the gross national product and eating of meat is actually positive. So the more money you have as a country, the more meat is produced or eaten by the population. And to end up with this thing, like, do you think, Sven, that financial institutions, we are now on the premises of the Croatian National Bank, can the financial institutions make and play a larger role or a role at all in making this kind of more sustainable future in a way?
I mean, yeah, absolutely. I feel like the main cause which is making the current world unsustainable is the private sector, the companies which pollute the world and do not transition to green energy. And I believe that financial institutions hold a lot of leverage over the private sector by like giving, I don't know, loans, startup cash to certain businesses, maybe on the conditionality that they're transition to green energy, that they're more sustainable. So there's definitely some leverage that financial institutions can use to force businesses or even entire countries, like institutions like the IMF can probably do it, to transition to green energy and stuff like that.
Nemo, what's your take on this critique of the big companies and the large kind of industries that can play a larger role, and maybe they're not playing large enough role at the moment?
I mean, I think in Denmark we actually have like the government or big companies are actually doing like a lot to save stuff. Maersk, do you know that? The shipping company, they are beginning to make like electric boats to ship things. I mean, yeah, I think they're making big stuff.
We have now just heard views on the 6 very important questions. Probably you have not thought that here in Monetera, in Zagreb, you would have like such meaningful and kind of clever answers to really important questions. So please give them a big round of applause for these like meaningful things. Thank you. Okay, and now it's time for you. Now we're going to have also new 2 questions for you, for your green and red things. So let's see the first question. Okay, first question for all of you is, I am willing to pay more if it is greener. Let's see those green and red. Come on, everyone. Let's see everyone, including the teachers, please. Green or red? See, now that's very realistic what you have now. So I'm sorry that you cannot see like probably it's 60-40, 60% to 40% for red. 60% for no, 40% for yes. That's really interesting. Let's see the second question. When buying clothes, I will put sustainability in the first place rather than fashion reasons. Yes or no? Okay, now we are, see now, I like this. This is not staged at all, because if it was staged, it would be completely different. Now we have probably 75 to 80% of red in the air. Fashion is important, it seems, especially in Croatia, not by my looks, but like probably as you can see, and I see in Denmark, it's also quite important. Malta is all in suits, so that's all good. So the fashion is important, and we are probably not willing to pay more. So that's great. That brings us to the final segment of our discussion. The final segment of our discussion has a title: Green Grass or Mars? Oh Lord, Green Grass or Mars? Okay, so let's see 6 new faces here. From Denmark, we have on the stage Amalia Koling Andersen. Then we have Asger Knive Andersson. And now we have, sorry, I'm going to say it in English, the last name, her last name. Christina Birch. Is it Birch or Birch or Birch? Christina. And then from Croatia, we have Luka Simon. Lana Srića. And then also, let's give it a big applause for Marin Bolanča. And Amalia, I'm going to start by you, okay? I'm going to ask you first question straight up. What do you think that Denmark is doing good about green transition? Because we know that Denmark, from our view, and not just Denmark, but a lot of countries of the Northern Europe are kind of doing good with this green transition. What do you think Denmark is doing good?
I think we're doing very well in the wind that we use a lot of wind power and solar power to use our energy. But I do know that we're making so much that we have to pay Sweden to take some of our energy. So I think we should work on making incentives to keep the energy.
Mm-hmm. And what do you think is not working so well in Denmark with regards to the green transition?
I think that we should use up more money on public transport to make that better.
Mm-hmm. How about here in Croatia? What do you think we are doing good, and what do you think it's not working so fine?
Oh, well, I agree with friends from Denmark. I think that we also use quite a bit of renewable energy sources. For example, we have a nuclear power plant shared with Slovenia. We have quite a bit of wind power plants and also hydropower plants. But I also agree that we should maybe invest more in public transport outside of cities to connect the whole country better than we are doing right now. For example, the train ride between Split and Zagreb is also the only real connection right now, and we have to depend on our cars or planes.
Mm-hmm. As you can see, we not only share kuna and kruna in names and their birth when the kuna was still here. There's a lot of similarities between these two countries. Both of these countries are kind of big on renewable energies. Croatia too, believe it or not. We have a lot of also natural resources with regards to the forests and all of that here in Croatia. So there are many things that are kind of similar between two countries. Asger, I want to ask you something. Different countries within European Union, but also within world, have approached green transition in different ways. Do you think those countries that are kind of more forward-looking with regards to the green transition, do you think they're in better or worse position for the future?
I definitely think those countries are in a way better position. If we take fossil fuels, for example, prices of oil, they are skyrocketing at times, and countries that are less dependent on fossil fuels, they tend to have a better advantage to those who are really dependent on fossil fuels.
Lana, what's your take on that?
I agree that right now oil prices are really volatile, so it's better that countries are not reliant on them, so they are not susceptible to global crises. But also, I think that green transition in general will be more, not just sustainable, but cheaper in the long run, because you would have to continue to pay for fossil fuels, while once you put out wind turbines or you get the hydro power plants, you can just use the energy from the sun, you can use the energy from the water and from the wind without having to pay for it, because you don't have to pay for the sun. So I think that countries that do go and green transition will have a lot more benefits in the future. Okay,
Lana, now I'm going to put you in a top position.
Okay.
So, for them from Denmark, just can you tell them the name of the president of Croatia? Zoran.
Yeah, I was kind of afraid. Okay.
Zoran Milanovic.
Zoran Milanovic, yes.
And the president of the government is?
I know.
Andrej Plenković.
Yes, I know.
Do you know the president of Denmark and the prime minister of Denmark? What are the names?
The name of the Prime Minister of Denmark is Mette Frederiksen.
Yeah. Okay, and that's enough. Okay, and now you're going to be, two of you are going to be in the position of the presidents and the prime ministers, okay, of Denmark and Croatia. So Lana, okay, you spoke about, just as Asger has been speaking about the way that it's okay to be forefront in a green transition. However, the position of countries such as USA and China is different. What's your take on that? Do you think that those countries which rely more on fossil fuels, on traditional kind of energy sources, do you think that they're in a kind of like better strategic position, or?
Well, I think that countries like USA and China will always be in a better position strategically because of their like a lot of resources. But I don't think that Croatia, unfortunately, will be ever going to be able to compete with those kinds of countries. But I know that China is really reliant on coal, that USA is also really reliant on fossil fuels. So I think that for them, it would be more strategic for them to like green transition, even though I do believe that even if they stay on fossil fuels, there will be more advantages to them than, for example, us if we green transition, but that's because of other factors.
Asger, what's your take as a Danish Prime Minister? What's your take on the China and US and their position with regards to the green transition?
I definitely think that with the United States, we need to cooperate more. We tend to kind of distance ourselves from the United States at times. So I think cooperation, since when the United States, they innovate a lot, so yeah, cooperation is key, and also sometimes China has some new solutions, so also kind of look over their shoulder.
Geostrategic discussions here at Monetera at 1 o'clock, that's kind of cool to have among the 15 and 16-year-olds. However, I have to tell Lana and Asger, you're not alone. So Croatia and Denmark are joined in the European Union. And European Union as a place is actually big on resources, especially human resources, as we can see here. And a lot of green transition is basically the use of the human resources, such as intelligence, such as creativity and innovation, that are present within countries of European Union. Christina, now another very important topic. You're not going into geopolitics, you're going into even deeper and harder questions. That question relates to the artificial intelligence. Artificial intelligence is all around us. Do you think that AI can help this green transition, or it can work in a kind of opposing way?
Well, I don't necessarily think it could help in the green transition. It can help in many other different ways, but it takes a lot of water just for one of the asking AI a question, and we also have to build a lot of these data centers that also take a lot of energy, and a lot of this energy is not renewable at all. So,
Marin, what do you think about that?
Yeah, I agree. I think AI will just make things even worse. Like data centers that AI is reliant upon use a lot of energy and water to cool them down. Obviously, this just means we need to come up with even more energy, and the most likely scenario is us using even more fossil fuels and making things even worse.
And can I just ask you, like, what's your take on AI? Do you see it as a positive thing overall, or?
Overall, I see it as a negative thing. I think it will be useful in some capacity, but I think it will just take away jobs from people, and they won't have an alternative.
Christina, what's your view on that, on AI in general?
In general, well, I'm not totally against it. He said it would take away jobs. Yeah, it would, but it would also create new jobs and new opportunities and help humans where we're lacking. So,
Asger, do you have opinion on that, on AI?
I definitely think the most ethical concerns lies within generative AI, which regularly steals from artists without the artists getting compensated for the models to be trained and to work. So, but I definitely think in technology and in sciences, in the more professional side of things, it definitely has its place. But in entertainment and media, it really doesn't, belong.
Luca, what do you plan on studying? Like, what's your profession in the future?
I try to avoid that question, but
you cannot avoid it. Just say politician. I'll give you a prime minister or president position.
I'd say politology, politics science.
You will?
Maybe.
Maybe. Oh, that's great. Okay, because that's a great question now for you. Think about like 10 years in the future. Okay, what would be like the kind of eco-friendly future for Croatia? How do you see it? Like, what would be like kind of ideal goal for you in the Croatia in 10 years?
Well, to firstly understand, I think that we should realize that Croatia, we're still developing in some way, so we cannot expect magic to happen in the next 10 years. So maybe that we should try to be more eco-reliable, as in that we should be also able to buy our own houses and not rely on like expensive housing that is currently here, but in like more of an eco way. We should definitely try to invest more in some like sun panels that we can generate energy from, and also switch from using like fossil cars or the cars that run on gas to electric cars, or what's even better, to like eliminate private traffic, that we should use public transportation within the city, for example the trams, buses or metro that could be built, but also all throughout the whole country with mostly trains, and trying to avoid planes because they're very contaminating the whole area.
Thank you. Amalia, how do you see like in 10 years Denmark in a even more positive or a more positive way than it is today?
Obviously, I hope that we use up more money on public transport, and in the sense that I hope we have more green energy than fossil fuel, because I think that's really the way forward.
And do you think like that Denmark is on the right pathway to get that there?
I definitely think we're on the right path right now, but I think we could do more work to be even more on the right path.
I don't know how, but we got in the previous round of people, we got to the meat and eating of the meat and all of that. You know, there are some changes that could be done here as a kind of society. And I'm going to ask you now like some kind of like blitz questions, and I would like you to give me an answer to that. Would you, kind of, for example, for the more kind of sustainable future, would you be willing to eat mostly plant-based food?
Oh, okay. So
that's interesting when it comes to okay. I'm not.
No, I do have an answer for this question. Is that the problem with being vegan for me is not that it is not as delicious as, for example, meat, because I have a feeling that I could stop eating meat and go vegan, but it's just that there's not a lot of places that I can buy vegan food. And sometimes you have to like spend a lot of time on making that food, and I don't have the time. I'm still going to school, my parents have jobs. So the problem with going vegan is not that I cannot like stop eating meat, it's just that it will take time and it will take more money. So that's a problem for me.
Amalia, how about you? Like, would you go all plant-based if it's necessary?
I think I would. I have multiple times considered going vegan or vegetarian, but right now I'm just cutting down on my meat. But I think I wouldn't mind going plant-based if the food got more appetizing.
More appetizing. It's not like it's not at the moment, or it's the plant-based.
Right now, I think we could. It looks a bit weird.
Asger, tell me, would you be willing, like for example, if there is need, to use only public transportation?
Yeah, definitely. If all are forced to use public transportation, the public transportation will definitely gradually improve a lot. But I think, especially in Denmark, that could be a problem for people who live outside of cities. So if we make the cities more walkable, which means that people don't have to use public transport, then people that don't live inside cities, they have more access to buses.
Martin, how about you? Would you be willing not to drive car or anything, like personal?
Yes, if the public transport in Croatia gets better, I would be willing to do it.
Let's see them. Okay, you have green and red. Okay, how many of you are willing to use only public transportation if it's needed? Let's see it in the air. Huh? Surprising. That's a half green and half red. That's it. How about like this first question that we had? How many of you are willing to eat mostly plant-based food? These are Croats there in the end. Like, look at this. These are Danes and the Croats. Okay, mostly red. Okay, let's see. Christina, we're going to check them further on. Okay, tell me now. Would you be willing to use things which are run only on green energy? Would that be an option for you?
Things that are only run on green energy?
Yeah, on green energy. So some only things that are being produced by the renewable energy sources.
Well, yes, but we still kind of need to improve that aspect. We don't really have that. Yeah.
How about you? Like, would you be willing to do that? Like, so say, like, I'm not going to use any of the fossil fuel sources.
Well, if it's possible to fully eliminate them, then yes, but I don't think that it's currently possible. So, I mean, sure, but not in full. I don't know, maybe if there is a way to live fully off of renewable sources, then yes, but currently I don't think that anyone can actually say yes to that, because we would cut necessities, daily necessities that we have.
Quite political answer, Luca. I like it. Like a lot political answer there. And the final question on this segment, Christina. Okay, would you be willing, in order to make future more sustainable, would you be willing to cut off travel by plane, so you never travel by plane?
No.
No.
No, may kind of seem controversial, but plane is a good invention, and I don't think we should be moving backwards. We should rather look into new technology, how we can make flying by plane more sustainable, maybe make planes bigger, or that they can like have more people in it. Because also before I mentioned that, you know, using train and public transport, but they also use fossil fuels, so we'll maybe just like find some solution where we can like invest to not use that.
How about you, Luca?
I'm a big fan of aviation, so it would be very hard for me to like stop using it. But because I know a lot about it, I know that there is actually no way to fully switch to planes that run on electricity. It's just not possible, and also planes that are going to run on like hydrogen are also in nowhere near the near future. So the only way that we can actually like to get rid of planes is that we should use them only for like long travels over the oceans to another continent. But if we can, I don't know, go to Paris with a train, then definitely yes, and I'm willing to do that.
Let's hear you. Okay, so how many of you are willing to cut off travel by plane due to the sustainable or ecological reasons? Let's see. That's realistic. I like this. I like this dialogue. Like everyone is true. Like no fooling around. No. So like, okay, 90% of you are not willing to cut that privilege that we have as a society. As you said, like maybe we could invest in technology and science to make it even more kind of greener than it is at the moment. The final question for you, Asgar, is we've heard David Bowie, Life on Mars. We've heard the Croatian band calling the Armageddon and how it's going to be fine. And we heard about like Costa, beautiful beach on the Danish coastline. So in order to make life better, not just sustainable, but better in 50 years, what can we do?
I definitely believe that the cities should be walkable and greener. So if we invest in greener spaces in big cities, that is a small step. And also, I firmly believe in nuclear power. I think that has been kind of slept on for the last many years, and nuclear power has become so advanced since the 1960s. So I think definitely reinvesting in that, and also that people take more public transport and care more for their environment.
Lana, how about you? How do you see the future?
Yeah, well, I would say that I agree. I think that we should educate people more, but I think that the governments should be those who, like the country should enter in more agreements, like the Paris Agreement, that it should be like more strict, that we need to have our governments and have big companies and institutions be held liable for what they're done to the environment, and it should not be just on the personal, like everyday people to change and help the environment. It should be also on the big corporations as well.
We have just now heard, once again, answers to 6 questions on the ways that what we can do as a society for the future. So please give a big round of applause for these 6 great young people. And now it's your final time for 2 questions. The first question we're going to have in this segment is the following. Okay, the question is, we will find greener way and be able to stay on Earth, yes or no? Okay, no one wants to go away from Earth. That's great, that's great. And the second question is, we should start to look for other habitable planets. No, yes, no. Okay. Half. Okay. It's been a great hour of discussion here at Monetera on the premises of the Croatian National Bank. I would like first of all for all of you to give a great round of applause for the following names. I'll read them all and then please give the round of applause for all of them. In the first group, speaking about the money and sustainability, we had Corana, Augusta, Franco, Laura, Maya and Malte. Please, big round of applause. Then, speaking about their wallets in their pockets, the price of coffee in Croatia and all of these other things in Denmark and Croatia, we had Holger, Paula, Nimo, Lorena, Filipa and Sven. And finally, we have just seen, and not just seen, but heard, more importantly heard, 6 young people speak about the green grass or Mars and telling us what we can do in order to stay here and have a green grass on this great planet. Please, big round of applause for Luka, Amalia, Lana, Asger, Marin and Kristina. And then also big applause for the Royal Danish Embassy, and equally big applause for the Croatian National Bank. And big thank you for all the Croatian schools and not just schools, but the students who came from schools. And I'll just name those schools that the Croatian participants came from. So these are the 2nd Gymnasium in Zagreb, the 5th Gymnasium in Zagreb, the 15th Gymnasium in Zagreb, Classical Gymnasium, and Vladimir Prelog Science School from Croatia. Big round of applause for them. And also among those who are here, we have the Gymnasium Lucian Vranjanin. They also deserve applause. First private gymnasium, also applause. And my favorite, Hotel and Tourism School. That's it. But listen, the biggest round of applause goes to our guests here in Croatia. They came all the way from Denmark. It's not easy to speak here, surrounded by all these crazy Croats, female and male, and it's not easy for them. So big round of applause for their teacher. Wait, I didn't even tell them who they are. Tell you who they are. So big round of applause for their teachers, and especially to the students who came here to Zagreb and had a great discussion with us. They come from Ranum Efterskole College in Denmark. Big round of applause. I've been Boris Jokic, and thank you for the audience. Thanks a lot.
After these lively discussions, we will now take a moment for 2 short reflections. I kindly invite Vice Governor and Chargé d'Affaires to share a brief closing thoughts on today's themes. Thank you both for being with us today. Mr. Fras, from your perspective, what is the most important message that we heard today from our panelists regarding the finances and sustainability? And if you could give them just one piece of financial wisdom which will matter both on rainy and sunny days in the future, what would it be?
I didn't know it's going to be an interview. Anyhow, how I feel is that I think all the participants, all the panelists have demonstrated very strong attitudes and very profound attitudes on the topics which do not necessarily correspond to that age. That is, I think, very good news. I mean, very good news for the civilization and for the, remaining on this planet, not necessarily evacuating to Mars. So I think that's one thing. And the message could be that financial literacy, that is something that we will have to work on and learn alongside with the sustainability. And I think this is something that will simply have to go more and more hand in hand. I think that this discussions, and in particular the voting by the audience have basically reflected the reality. I mean, on one thing, obviously we all understand what would be politically correct answers, but on the other hand, we have the pure reality, and I think that the balance between political correctness and the reality has been demonstrated here very well. And this reminds me on the topic of electric cars. I mean, we have been talking about electric cars for the last, I don't know, 50 years, but only recently, during the last 10 years, 5 or 10 years, we see electric cars being available and becoming more popular. Why? Because they're affordable. I think this is the sort of balance that we'll have to work on as societies. And one other thing I think that I'd like to point out, I mean, there are obviously differences in GDP in between Croatia and Denmark, but I haven't really noticed any mention of that during the discussions, which means that the attitudes as such of the panelists are really pure and are not infected by any other influences. I think that's very good, because usually the generation, a Bosnian friend of mine from neighboring Bosnia many years ago, during the most dramatic times in the history of this area, he mentioned once that it is the generation that makes sense, not the nation. I think this has demonstrated this message too well. Thank you.
Thank you. And Ms. Zakariasen, from your perspective, what is the most important message that we heard today from young panelists, and from your diplomatic and personal experience? What do you see as the most important quality that young people should nurture to help create a greener tomorrow?
I would say I'm very surprised about the honesty that has been in the panels. I think that it's been very inspiring to listen to what the Vice Governor also said, this mix that, yes, we could do more individually, but we also live our life. And I think that was very good to hear that you were honest about that, because it would be so easy to say, yes, I always buy organic, yes, I never fly and all this, but that's probably not the reality. So I think that was to walk into the room with the full light on, that makes it easier to also find the solutions and go for that. And then I would say that there was a very much focus on our individual behavior today, but I would also encourage everyone in this room to use the democratic voice to ask your governments to deliver more, and ask also more of the EU, because climate change doesn't know borders and we need solutions together. That also means that in Brussels we need to find some good solution. I'm happy that the Danish presidency managed to find an agreement on a new EU climate law for 2040 on 90% reduction, but that's also a path we have to go down. So we have to ask more of our governments. We have to participate in democracy. When all of you turn 80, to go and vote, and that's also a place where we need to ask for more change.
Thank you both for your kind words. And as we come to the end, As we come to the end of this inspiring program, I want to thank again to all participants, especially to our young talents from Denmark and Croatia. You helped us today make this discussion live and meaningful, and your voices are the future of sustainable finance, whether on rainy or sunny days. Thank you.